HOA tried to evict me. I owned the lake, and their only parking lot had just poured my morning coffee and stepped onto the porch of my cabin when I noticed a patrol car slowly cruising up the gravel road. No lights flashing, no sirens, just that quiet, unsettling presence that immediately makes your stomach drop. Something was wrong. Weeks earlier, I'd received a letter from the HOA, typical bureaucratic language at first glance, but then came the real threat: eviction. They claimed I was violating community rules. Eviction from my own cabin, my property, my sanctuary. Most people don't realize this, but I didn't just own the cabin. I owned the lake behind it. I owned the land around it. And yes, their so-called only parking lot sits squarely on my property. That little detail, it changes everything. At first I felt that familiar mix of anger and disbelief. How could an HOA think they could push me out? But then, a slow, calm clarity took over. I knew they had overstepped. Every letter, every threat, they all revealed their misunderstanding of my rights. And that's when the plan started to form. Not a plan of revenge. A plan of quiet, unstoppable compliance. They sent more letters, notices, emails, each one carefully worded, filled with bureaucratic threats. I read each one, noting every loophole, every misstep, every overreach. I responded calmly, legally, and precisely. Every word I wrote reinforced my position. Every interaction made them realize they were overreaching. But they didn't yet understand how powerless they had become. Standing on my porch, watching the sunrise reflect off the lake, I felt a quiet satisfaction. Not the kind born from anger, but the kind that comes from knowing the truth. I had the power, and they didn't. Their parking lot, my land, their lake. My lake, evict me. Impossible. The tension grew over the following days. I could feel it. Every visit, every attempt to intimidate me only strengthened my confidence. They were scrambling, trying to enforce rules that didn't apply. Meanwhile, I followed every regulation, every law, every clause, but in a way that highlighted their mistakes and left them without leverage. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. Their threats had no teeth. The HOA had no legal ground. My cabin, my lake, my parking lot, they couldn't touch any of it. And sitting there on my porch, watching the water, I felt something rare: calm vindication. The satisfaction of knowing I'd faced intimidation and come out completely unshaken. The real lesson: sometimes, winning isn't about confrontation. It's about knowing your rights, staying calm, and letting those who try to bully you trip over their own overconfidence. And as for the HOA, they now have to live with the reality that you can't evict someone from what they already own. I smiled, took a sip of coffee, and enjoyed the quiet. Because in the end, the lake was mine, the land was mine, and every attempt to intimidate me had only made my victory sweeter.